Welcome into the mezzanine here at Bird Arena as we bring you another edition of the Coaches Show. I'm Ryan Boyd and I'm joined by the head man here for Ohio Hockey, Dan Morris. As always, Coach, another day, I guess a day off from practice today. You guys went and played football instead.
Yeah, we had a playing football day today. Guys had a nice day away from the rink and got a chance to go out and play football, and hopefully they didn't do anything to hurt the field where our Bobcats are undefeated on two undefeated teams. You know, hope we didn't cross any lines and bring any bad karma to the football field by having hockey guys play on the football field. So they had a fun day today.
Well, hopefully you didn't lose any of your guys as football all-stars or anything. So.
No, I don't think that. I think they'd like to think that somebody was watching them. And then maybe they'll pull them out of the crowd, but I'm pretty sure that we don't have very many football players out there.
All right, Coach, so let's start by looking back at last weekend. You guys took care of Pittsburgh. You beat them twice, 6-0 and 7-0 in those two games over the weekend. And, first things first, after winning those two games, you guys are 4-0 as a team. What would you say the confidence level is like for your guys?
Well, I think it's pretty high. I think, anytime you have that much turnover, or as much turnover as we've had as a team, I think there's always a lot of question marks. And I got to give a lot of credit to our coaching staff, to John Sheridan and Mike Callan, that have done a great job in identifying players that can play well together, put them in successful situations, and I think we're seeing the product of that. You're just gaining confidence. For example, like Nick Hudek. Nick gets a lot of valuable ice time, and he wasn't really a player that we projected to get as much as he's getting now, and I think he's thriving in the situation, and that's good to see. I think he's clicked with Nate Delatorre and freshman Garrett Williams as well, so that's nice to see, and they play well together.
Now, when looking back at those two wins, one thing that I think is most important to talk about, obviously, is the defense. And I talked to you a lot after the games about this as well. You guys had two shutouts from Matt McNoe and net. And not only just holistically was the defense good, but I know that one thing you talked a lot about was some of the special teams, whether it be the power play or the penalty kill. Overall, did you think it was a pretty successful weekend for your guys on defense?
Yeah, I think the numbers kind of indicate that. I think we did a pretty good job of getting the shots from the spots where we wanted them to come from, and I thought Saturday night we gave up a few more chances than we did Friday night, and I think our defense were maybe cheating a little bit or hanging out at the blue line a little too long and try to pick the pass off rather than respecting the Pittsburgh players when they were leaving the zone. We talked about that a little bit after the game, and hopefully we don't create any bad habits that, we got to get back on defense and get our third forward high. But in the third period, even in the game, as it was 5-6 nothing, a lot of times the third forward might want to creep in and hang out a little bit longer. But it was nice to see the last 10 minutes, we still had three guys back, and to me that's guys playing for the goaltender and making sure that he gets that shutout on his stats, and that's good to see guys want to do that for a goaltender like Matt.
Now, to talk about Matt, since you brought him up right there at the end, we knew coming into the season, or at least we could have assumed, that Brendan Madden and Teddy Dushkin were going to have good years. They both were very solid last year, but then you lose Madden to a minor injury, and he'll be back here shortly, but you lose him, and so you have to have someone else step up in his place, at least for now, and Matt seems to have done a wonderful job through 3 games. How pleased are you with him?
You can't ask for anything better than what Matt's given us. He's played actually 3 games. He's given up 1 goal against, and he's managed the game real well. He understands the game. When we need stoppages, when we need to keep playing the puck, and things like that. He's a smart guy out there. The thing that he's lacking is he's a cross country runner for 4 years. He's been playing men's league rec hockey here at Bird Arena. The pace of the game is the thing that he needs to get caught up with, and understanding that he's got players around him that are going to help him. As playing rec league, there's not a whole lot of defense out there. One of the challenges that Matt has is he's been in games where we've averaged giving up 15 shots a game.
Yeah.
He maybe gets that in men's league in the first 5 minutes. So he's got to we talked a little bit, and I know I talked to you about this too. Is he's got to change his focus, and you know, the intermissions are one thing that he's got to get used to, and changing his focus. And we talked about in the way he is to try to quiet his mind a little bit. His mind is always racing, and you know, he's got to slow down a little bit, slow the game down a little bit, slow his tempo down a little bit, and just kind of quiet his brain, kind of block everything out, and just focus on his job at hand. I think once he gets to that point, I think he'll be fine.
Now, on the other side, we talk a lot about defense, but the offense was obviously there again. I believe you guys now have 27 goals through 4 games. You've been scoring well. It hasn't just been one line. I mean, it seems like everybody's been involved. You mentioned Nick Hudek, Garrett Williams, those guys. I mean, would you say at this point, I know it's early, it's only been 4 games, but would you say at this point you got a pretty good feel for how each of your lines is going to be set up for most of the year?
Yeah, I think we got a pretty good idea, and I think guys are, taking on their roles really well and appreciating their roles. And you know, it's a long year. You don't know how things will shake out. You know, it's a long season. We'll have injuries. We'll have different things come up over the course of the year that might put guys in different positions than normally. And to say that today's, you know, lineup is going to be the same as the lineup at the end of the year, that's probably not the case. But it's the one that's working now, and you kind of go with it. You know, next week it may be different. The week after that it may be different. So you just kind of click things around. We've had the chance to play all our guys over the last couple of games and get to see what guys can do in the game situation and who plays well with who. So yeah, it's continually changing, and to say these things are set in stone is something that we don't do. But it's good to see guys contribute across the board. You know, like, you know, Jaden Azarelli gets a hat trick. You know, I was doing his stats. Today, and I think career-wise, he had 5 goals or 10 goals or something. You know, he gets a third of his career goals in one game. So 2 shorties. So that tells you a lot about. And he's happy. He's killing penalties, and scoring goals, killing penalties too. So there's a 5th-year senior that, you know, we talked about this. A guy who, you know, he relishes the role of killing penalties. You know, he doesn't complain about not getting power play time. You know, it sets a good tone for other guys, new guys on the team, to say, hey, he's a 5th year. He's happy to kill penalties and block shots for us. And guys are treating him like every block shot or thing he does is like they cheer louder than you would scoring a goal. So it kind of creates the culture that we want on our team.
Now, when you look at some of the freshmen on this team, or even just some of the newcomers in general, you've talked a lot about roles right now. You know, you look at Mazzarella, guys like that who have kind of built themselves into a role over the last 4 or 5 years. For your freshmen, I know that a lot of them have performed well so far. Would you say that a lot of them are already fitting into a role, or are they all still kind of developing?
They're all developing. Like, we saw some things with a couple of our young players this weekend in particular that, you know, opened our eyes to a couple different options. And you know, that's something down the road that we'll explore, as we want to put our new players into our philosophies, to put them in positions where they'll succeed. And sometimes success is based on familiarity, and wherever they're familiar with, what they're familiar with. We don't want to rock the boat too much. We want to put them in a situation where, hey, they did this well, let's put them in that situation, they'll do well. And then over time, maybe expand their role a little bit. So that's what we'll do. You know, and our young players are having success, and we want to keep it that way. So we don't want to confuse them too much and add too much on their plate. We just want them to keep being successful, and then as they're ready to grow, then we'll grow them in that time.
All right, Coach. And then now, the last thing I want to look at is this upcoming weekend. You guys go. Well, I guess you play 2 games with West Virginia. One's going to be here, and one's going to be there. You know, and I asked you before we even started this interview, just kind of about how strange it is. Maybe not strange in your mind, but I think for some people to play one here and one there. You know, talk a little about what it's going to be like, not only just to play West Virginia, but to get your guys used to playing here and then on the road.
I think it's strange. It's strange for us because our distance between opponents is greater than some other teams in some other leagues. Like the Great Lakes League, they have home and home. They don't play back to back in the same venue, so they can drive. They don't stay in hotels. You know, we're in a place where, you know, our nearest, West Virginia is our nearest road trip, and then Kent State, and, you know, then you go six to 8 hours away. So, yeah, with West Virginia, it's easy. We're playing a game in Charleston Saturday at 2, and we've played there before in a venue there on I think it was either Wednesday or Thursday night. We've gone down there and played. And Charleston Arena is always great support. It's a border town. It's you know, it's great to go down there and compete against West Virginia and you know, keep our rivalry going. If that means playing one night here and one night there. Hey, I just got a bus ride. I don't have hotels. It only cost me maybe $800 to get there, so it's not costing me $2,500, $3,000. So I'm fine with it.
All right, Coach. Well, we appreciate your time and good luck this upcoming weekend.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, so this has been another edition of the Coaches Show. Dan Morris here, as he always will be. I'm Ryan Boyd. We'll see you next time.